Indiana minus 3.5. Indiana Hoosiers to win and cover their point spread minus 3.5 against the Oregon Ducks in their upcoming game on Friday, January 9th, 2026, the Peach Bowl, is a prediction that I generated using artificial intelligence, AI, to analyze the expert opinions of over 10 college football authorities and full updated injury reports. In the description box below this video are two links. The first link will take you to my Google Drive where you can download my PDF file where I summarize the predictions generated by artificial intelligence AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok, as well as their actual outputs. And on the last page of the PDF file, on page 5, is the prompt that I used. So using this prompt and the inputs that I will discuss in this video, you will be able to also use ChatGPT, Grok, or Gemini to generate predictions as well as answer additional follow-up questions. Now that's the first link at the top of the description box. The second link has the full report of the college football playoff games, including Miami, Ole Miss, Oregon, and Indiana. So this report is 54 pages long, and it includes the expert opinions of over 10 college football authorities, as well as injury reports and other important facts. I discuss this full report on my channel in a video with a thumbnail that says Expert Picks. On my channel, I also have a separate video predicting Miami will win and cover minus 3.5 against Ole Miss. So to download this file and the other file, go to the Google Drive, click File, and then Download. And you can download these PDF files to your computer. So in summary, this PDF file here, the 54-page PDF file, is what I uploaded into ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok. It has the expert picks on the first 3 pages. For example, Joel Klatt, Fox Sports, Greg McElroy, ESPN analyst. Greg McElroy will be announcing the Indiana-Oregon game. He's the ESPN announcer. Urban Meyer's opinion. So I summarize that on the first 3 pages, as well as a summary of key injuries. Just to let you know, looking at the injuries of the 4 teams in this round of the playoffs, the Oregon Ducks have the most notable injury, and that's to running back Jordan Davidson. He leads the Oregon Ducks in rushing touchdowns and also rushing yards in the playoffs. The other teams, Indiana, Miami, and Ole Miss, their injuries are relatively stable. Nothing new or game-changing. In the rest of the report, I include links to the YouTube videos and articles where the experts express their opinions, their predictions, as well as key takeaways. And also up-to-date injury reports. On the injury reports, I also went into the team statistics and extracted what I could to get an indication of the impact of these injuries. For example, Oregon Ducks, Jordan Davidson, running back, rushing yards for the season, 667 yards and 15 touchdowns. So if you look at in terms of the impact, the Oregon Ducks running back, Jordan Davidson, that's the key injury among all 4 teams. So now let's look at the AI outputs. So to summarize, so basically this is what I did. This PDF file, 54-page PDF file, I put into ChatGPT, Grok, and Gemini. Then using this prompt, I had it run an analysis on that information that I uploaded. And then the outputs are here for you to read. But ChatGPT, basically all 3, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok, using the expert opinions PDF file, all predicted that the Indiana Hoosiers would win and cover the point spread. the point spread is minus 3.5, which means they have to win by 4 or more points. ChatGPT and Gemini predict that Indiana will win by 7 points. Grok predicts that they will win by 4 points. So having listened to all the podcasts, YouTube videos, and articles in the expert opinions, I believe that these are reasonable predictions. That given all the data and analysis, that Indiana to win and cover the point spread of minus 3.5, to win by a touchdown, is a reasonable prediction given all the data. Now, this is a situation where artificial intelligence is really useful, where we control the information. So what I did was I extracted all the best information I could from multiple sources. So these games have a lot of attention. So there's a lot of people, a lot of experts giving their opinions. There's a lot of statistics because we have the full regular season and we have the playoffs. So with all this data, it's perfect for the artificial intelligence to go through and to generate predictions or extract facts. In fact, there's so much information right now, it's overwhelming. In fact, it's hard for a human to efficiently go through all the information. So this is a perfect task for artificial intelligence. So let's look at ChatGPT. So with ChatGPT, I uploaded the 50-page report. And in ChatGPT, what you want to do is go into thinking mode, and do extended thinking. So in all three of the artificial intelligences, I use thinking or expert mode. So ChatGPT, I used extended thinking, and it thought for over 4 minutes. And it gave me the predicted score as well as the top 10 reasons. Gemini, I also put it into thinking mode. And after thinking, it actually shows you the process here. I asked for it to give me the prediction of the top scores and top 10 reasons. Now, a general principle of artificial intelligence is, let's say you give it a task, and my main goal is this. I want to know what the final score is, right? But it helps me to know what the artificial intelligence used to come up with this conclusion. So if I just ask for the prediction only, who knows its thought process? Furthermore, it actually helps the artificial intelligence to generate a better output if you ask it to think and explain itself. So that's Gemini. And so with Grok's similar situation here, there's the prediction of the score, and in Grok I use expert mode. So the first step is you want to upload, if you want to do this for yourself, you want to download this PDF file, the 54-page report, then upload it into ChatGPT, Grok, or Gemini. Then you can paste this prompt into the chat box, let it run, put it into thinking mode, let it run for a few minutes, and then you can get this output. But on your own, you can do some more independent analysis. You could say, what's the impact of injuries? What's your prediction for the first half? So you can do follow-up questions. Now, in the remainder of this video, what I want to do is I want to emphasize certain points that I observed in going through this process, which will influence the outcome of this game, and which also supports the prediction that Indiana will win and cover. So let's talk about the topic of injuries. So on Indiana's side, there's no major new injuries. However, there is a player that did not play against Oregon the first time they played. So Oregon played Indiana earlier this season. So Oregon played Indiana on October 11th. October 11th, Indiana and Oregon played, and that was at Oregon. So Indiana went on the road and beat Oregon by 10 points. Now, in that game, Charlie Becker, the wide receiver, did not play in that game. Charlie Becker's important because, well, he became obviously more important nationally when against Ohio State, he had 6 receptions, 126 receiving yards against Ohio State, which was considered to have the best defense in the nation. So Charlie Becker, wide receiver for Indiana, 126 receiving yards. Against Alabama, 51 receiving yards on just 2 receptions, and he has a touchdown. so effective against high-level competition. Did not play against Oregon. So you have to factor that in too. So that just helps Oregon. Now on Oregon's side, they have the biggest injury hit going into the playoffs. So Jordan Davidson, running back, Oregon, he will be out. He leads the Oregon Ducks in rushing touchdowns. So he basically, if you look at both rushing touchdowns and receiving touchdowns, he accounted for about 20% of the touchdowns for the Oregon Ducks. So he had 667 yards, 15 touchdowns. Noah Whittington had 829 yards and only 6 touchdowns. And so he's really important. He's a really important component to the Oregon Ducks run game. So also, if you look in the playoffs, it says here, college football playoff yards per game from scrimmage. On the Oregon Ducks, Jordan Davidson was the leading generator of yards per game from scrimmage. I just want to show you here, too, leading the list is Miami's Mark Fletcher, 143. So anyway, this chart is on ESPN. And it's one of the links in that full PDF file. So going back to this injury, Jordan Davidson. So not only do you have the leading rushing touchdown maker on Oregon out, they also have multiple other running backs out, either through injuries or opting out. So if you see here, Oregon Ducks, you have 3 or 4 running backs on the list. So not only do they have their leading, one of their most important running back players out with an injury, you also have other running backs out because of transfer portal reasons. So they're also thin when it comes to running. Now, with respect to rushing. Now, there is last night, I listened to the Oregon-Indiana preview by Landon Tangwell. He played college football at Penn State. He was a offensive lineman, and he has really detailed film study. Landon Tangwell. So I listened to his Oregon-Indiana preview, and he watched the last game between Oregon and Indiana. And he stated that for Oregon to win, they need to establish a strong rushing attack. But one of Oregon's most important running backs is out with an injury. Also, and this is why I love his analysis, he also looked at the pass protection of the running backs. So not only is Jordan Davidson the leading, the most important running back with respect to touchdowns and also in the playoffs, he also is important for pass protection. And the other running backs are not as effective or experienced in pass protection. And that was an important observation that Landon Tangwell noted in his preview, Oregon versus Indiana. He published it on January 8th, 2026, or January 7th, 2026. So pass protection is an issue now, and also the rushing attack's an issue, which are problems. So that's the injury discussion here. Now, another thing that I noticed when I watched the Texas Tech Oregon game was some of the things did not show up on the stat sheet, but there were here, and this is on Sports Illustrated. They describe it as Oregon Ducks miscues, but I'll call them as Oregon's errors. Oregon's errors include fumbles, bad snaps, and there were several bad snaps. Team looking out of sync in the Texas Tech game. Now, in listening to all the experts, the consensus is that Indiana Hoosiers are the best coached team in college football, meaning that they're efficient and they don't make errors, okay? They don't commit penalties. They don't hurt themselves. So they're efficient and they don't hurt themselves with errors, which means that if you want to beat a team that is the best coached team, which is Indiana, that is the most efficient, that do not make errors, then the opponent, the Oregon Ducks, cannot be making errors. So in the Texas Tech game, they had several bad snaps. They had some fumbles, and so this made me look at some of these. So let's look at some of these errors. So against Texas Tech, they had 3 fumbles, they had an interception and 2 sacks. That would be those errors could be potentially catastrophic against the extremely efficient Indiana Hoosiers. Now, also looking at Dante Moore, in his performance on October 11th against Indiana, he had 2 interceptions, he had 6 sacks, and he had minus 27 yards rushing. That's from 6 sacks. Dante Moore is not he's not a run threat. And also, if you look at ESPN, and this is one of the links that I provide, they on the Indiana in their first game, Oregon versus Indiana. This is Oregon's quarterback Dante Moore versus Indiana. This chart here on ESPN shows all of Dante Moore's pass attempts. So blue is touchdown, red is interceptions, yellow is incompletions, green are completions, and the blue line is the line of scrimmage. So here's an interesting observation. If you look at the pattern here, the passes are mostly short. It looks like about 40%, or at least maybe a third of the passes are behind the line. Okay, it looks like here, among the completed passes, it looks like at least 2/3, 67%, are less than 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Many are behind the line of scrimmage. And actually, 100% of the completions are within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage, with the exception of the 1 touchdown. There are very few attempts past 15 yards, and all 4 were not complete. There were 2 interceptions, and look at the interceptions, how close they are to the line of scrimmage. This was interesting to me, but it also reinforced what I observed when Indiana played Texas Tech. There was a lot of short passes, side to side, horizontally. And if that's their pattern, which is predictable, that's a pattern that Indiana can defend against. But the problem with doing the short passes is if they are intercepted, you're giving Indiana better field percentage, better field position, versus if you throw a long ball, it's basically like a punt, right? If it's intercepted. But if you get intercepted at the line of scrimmage or near it, you're giving Indiana better field position, but you're also increasing the possibility of a pick six. Now, among all the games I watch, Oregon has a tendency to throw a lot of these short side-to-side passes. The side-to-side passes, especially if they go a long distance, it gives a chance for the Indiana defenders to react, to intercept the ball, and take it in to capitalize and get a pick six. So this is a pattern that's concerning, and I would consider this one of Oregon's issues. Another issue that comes up, which the teams are downplaying, is the Oregon Ducks, their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator, are both moving on next year to be head coaches. The offensive coordinator has already been hired to be the head coach of Kentucky. The defensive coordinator has already been hired to be the head coach of Cal Berkeley, the Cal Bears. Now they say, hey, it's cool, I can balance it. But Indiana does not have that problem. Indiana's offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are stable. They're there. They have 100% of their attention and concentration on beating Oregon and winning the national championship. Oregon's offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator is not. They already admit that they're splitting their attention to their new job. Now, this is exacerbated because of the transfer portal being open. So while they dismiss it, it has to be a factor. Especially on the offensive side, if the lead running back is out, that means that the defensive coordinator has to come up with new schemes. Also, too, it's a factor. So all these new factors that come up. Indiana's wide receiver, Beck, playing in this game. Charlie Beck, who's playing in this game but not in the previous game. Injuries hurting Oregon side, coaching changes, style of play, matchup, efficiency. There's another issue with the efficiency. Let's look at the Texas Tech efficiency. So Oregon versus Texas Tech. Third down efficiency was 4 and 19. For comparison, Indiana's efficiency against Alabama was 9 and 14. Much more efficient. So Oregon, third down efficiency was 4 and 19. Their fourth down efficiency was 4 and 8, 50%, which is great. But they attempted to convert fourth down 8 times. That's a lot of fourth down conversions. Meanwhile, Indiana made no attempts to convert on fourth down because they were so good in converting on third down. So Oregon Ducks were not able to convert on third down. And then to compensate, they went for it on fourth down 8 times. So all these things considered further support the conclusion generated by artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok, using the expert opinions of over 10 college authorities, that the Indiana Hoosiers will win and cover the point spread of minus 3.5 in their upcoming game, Friday, January 9, 2026, against Oregon Ducks, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.